Hi, and welcome back. I'm Scott Hall, Garrett Robinson. We're making vinyl at Masterdisc, and we're going to talk today about the matrix number. It's also called the scribe number, sometimes referred to as the master number. This is the etching that goes into the center of the disc that helps us identify the disc. Collectors refer to this as the dead wax. This is the space after the recording is finished, but right before what's called the lead out. So another episode will break this all down and show you the different parts, but right now we're going to talk about the matrix and the scribe number. So these master lacquers, this is a demonstration. It's written on, but we wouldn't write on an actual master. The recorded grooves end here, and then there's a lead out, and then the very last rotation of the groove before it stops is where we write and where we scribe information. But why? Why do we have to do that? The reason is that everybody that makes one of these records puts it in a box and ships it to the pressing plant. And they're going to get 10, 20, 50, 100 of these things a day. You can't tell by looking at the record what side it is or even what audio is it. And we can't play it because that's going to damage it. The only way we can identify it, we can't put a label on it either. And it gets very easy to get them confused in the plant. So many eons ago, they started numbering them. It's also called a catalog number. So if the project was done for a label, you might see similarities. Columbia Records, AL and BL with what they would put before the records. Or there might be a specific preamble that they would put 800123, and then a serial number after it might be for Warner Group. Garrett's going to do an inscription here for us, and I'll talk you through it while it's happening. So typically we would have recorded this side and inspected it with the scope, top to bottom, and made sure that it was healthy, that all the grooves were good looking and everything. And then we're going to use a cutting platform here so that we can rest our hand on, and he's going to do the inscription. And why don't we call this one Making Vinyl?
Okay.
So he's locating the spot on the disc where the scribe number should start. And there's a very, very small spot in the middle there where he can cut through the lacquer, partially through the lacquer, with a metal scriber that he's using, and make little block characters for each letter and or number. So let's call this Making Vinyl A1. And this is where you have to be particularly careful. If the scriber goes outside of that little dead wax area and touches the groove, or even gets close to the groove, it will put an enormous pop on the groove at that point, and all of the work that went into it and the cost and everything that went into making it would be ruined. That's not to be confused with the pop that you hear at the end of the disc as the needle falls into the locked groove. That's on every record, but you would know it if there was a scribing problem because your speakers would probably jump out of the speakers. The cones would jump out of the speakers because there'd be so much noise if you actually scraped across the groove. So now that it's inspected, we make sure that it looks good, and then we move the plotter to a slightly different place on the disc, and we put the Masterdisc stamp on. So the Masterdisc stamp, excuse my reach, is just our name, Masterdisc, in a metal punch tool, a die. It's actually written backwards on here so that when we press it down, it gives the image of Masterdisc. But show them how we do that.
Mind your P's, Q's, and Masterdisc, right?
Yeah.
You got to make sure I'm holding the right way so I don't...
Otherwise, it'll be upside down.
Okay.
Place that carefully between the two grooves. And once again, this is a great way to ruin a record if you don't get that right. I'll say at the same time, look at your vinyl records and see how they're stamped. If you see Masterdisc on them, then you're absolutely 100% certain that that record was cut at Masterdisc by one of the engineers through the years. 1973 was the first year Masterdisc started cutting records under the Masterdisc name, and countless records were made during that time, and many different engineers throughout the history, but we always use that same stamp. So there it is. There's not much more to say about it, other than we can inscribe longer phrases. We could write all the way around the lockout if we really were asked to. Sometimes we encode a particular phrase for Donna or something on one side, or maybe on one record, instead of having a master number, it was called this side. and the B side was called the other side. And so you can be creative, but it's really, really, really important that your plating plant coordinates with us as to what that number is. So when we put this in the box and ship it off to the plating plant, they open it up and they go, oh, this is Garrett's record, because that number has already been associated to Garrett's project. Let us do that interface for you. And there is occasion, some pressing plants actually have us inscribe one of their production numbers onto the surface of the disc. That's so that their automated quality control process can work the way it's supposed to. So in those cases, you have the option of using their production number or your own production number, or you can put both of them on the disc. So that's the matrix number, the scribe number, the master number, the catalog number, and whatever else you want to call it in the dead wax of your record. And so now you know. Thanks, Garrett.
Thank you, Scott.
And check us out next time for more Making Vinyl at Masterdisc.